is Alex Cotter, and my pronouns are he and him. I am a member of the Worship and Music Committee, and I will be your worship associate this morning. I'm delighted to welcome you here, whether you are visiting this morning or a regular member. Please check with the greeter if you have any questions. Today, we acknowledge that we are located in a place that was once the Wampanoag village of Patuxent. We strive to follow their example and be faithful stewards of this sacred land. The theme for today's service is a welcoming presence. Our service is recorded. The candles section will be edited out so that we can speak more candidly and personally as a community. This service, as are all our services, will be posted on our Facebook page and on YouTube. We also share our services on local public access television. Our service today is presented by our minister, Reverend Arthur Lavoie. Our service is being filmed by Linda. Deb Keller-Wood, Director of Spiritual Enrichment, will lead a time for all ages. Today's live music will be offered by Aaron and Rachel. Because our services vary from week to week, we suggest that you visit us again to experience the variety of worship that we offer. If you are a visitor, please consider signing the guest book, which is in the foyer, so you may receive our weekly e-blast. Masks are available if you want to wear one during the service. We are as usual, hosting coffee hour after the service. We invite you to join us for fellowship and refreshments. If you're interested in helping out with the coffee hour, please talk with Julia Thomas after the service.
Sorry, that has changed. Diane Zola will be in shortly. Diane is organizing all the coffee hour.
That's the best mistake of the day.
Whoever you are, whomever you love, whatever you believe, wherever you are on your journey, let us walk together this hour.
Good morning. I'm the Reverend Arthur Lavoie. I'm delighted to be here with you and to see all of you here this morning. Thank God we got a dry day or a little bit of one, right? We've had some pretty intense days. I'm sorry to say that Emily and Jane both have come down with COVID this week. So that's why we don't have a musical accompanist. We're going to use some recorded clips of hymns that we're going to be using. We've chosen a couple of simple, more simple hymns, and we're going to kind of wing our way through that part of the service this morning. Yeah, Jane came down with it earlier in the week, and Emily knew that by Friday she was starting to be symptomatic. So we know that. So we miss Emily this morning. I want to offer a special welcome to any who are watching us online, either on Facebook, on our YouTube channel, or on one of the local public access TV stations. We're thrilled to have you with us. First, Parish Plymouth.org is our website, and we know that you can check in there to get more information about this congregation, about Unitarian Universalism, or to get information about how to contact me if you'd like to speak to me. Thank you again, and welcome. For our centering moment this morning, I'm going to invite you all to chant the word Om with me, each in your own pitch or cadence, and we'll just do that for about a minute, and I'll ring the bell at the end. Om. Om.
Today's call to worship is A Larger Circle by Wendell Berry. We clasp the hands of those who go before us and the hands of those who come after us. We enter the little circle of each other's arms and the larger circle of lovers whose hands are joined in the dance, and the larger circle of all creatures, passing in and out of life, who move also in a dance, to a music so subtle and vast that no one hears it except in fragments.
And our opening hymn is number 361 in the gray hymnal, Enter, Rejoice, and Come In. And we're going to play a clip. We're using some musical clips from the UU Church in Nashua, New Hampshire, to help lead our hymns. Please rise.
Enter, rejoice, and come in. Enter, rejoice, and come in. Today will be a joyful day. Enter, rejoice, and come in. Open your ears to the song. Open your ears to the song. Today will be a joyful day. Enter, rejoice, and come in. Open your hearts, everyone. Open your hearts, everyone. Today will be a joyful day. Enter, rejoice, and come in. Don't be afraid of some change. Don't be afraid of some change. Today will be a joyful day. Enter, rejoice, and come in. Enter, rejoice, and come in. Enter, rejoice, and come in. Today will be a joyful day. Enter, rejoice, and come in.
Please be seated. Oh, no, stay standing. I'm sorry. You can use, I let the camera let the people just use that one. This is probably it's not working well. And join me in the chalice lighting words. Love is the
Spirit of this church, and service is law. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in freedom, to speak the truth in love, and to help one another.
Please be seated. And do we know, Rachel and Aaron, is this mic on? Do we know if that got turned on? Okay, so. Is that just talk on? Right.
You can just hold it. So we've been talking about invitation when we go upstairs. And last week, I asked the kids, what are you most excited about coming back to church? What do you love about church? And we got all sorts of answers. Aaliyah wasn't there, so she has a chance to share what she loves about church.
I have two favorite things. Can I take both of them?
Yeah.
I think it would be coffee hour and going upstairs.
Yes. Remember what you said?
I didn't say it.
You did, oh, that's right, you passed. One of the rules we have is anybody can pass when there's a question. Do you remember some of the other things that people said?
I think some other people sat upstairs in coffee hour.
They did, they like going upstairs and us having groups and doing art projects. She really likes that one. And Today we're going to talk about inviting in the new, because we talked about the fact that things have changed for us, that we don't have our 7 principles, we have 6 values. That's a change. And how do we let change in to our lives? We have to figure it out. But we have to be open to it. And part of being a congregation that is invitation focused, we need to be open to new people and new things and new ideas, right? Like sometimes one of you will say to me, I want to do it this way. And what do I usually say?
Yes.
Okay. Not what I had planned, that's okay, we can go with it, right?
Yes.
So when you meet new people, or when you try to let people feel good about being places, we need to let them make some choices, right? What do you think I would say if somebody came in and said, can we use markers instead of pencils?
Probably you would say yes.
Yeah. And how would that person feel if I said, okay,
They would feel really happy inside.
yeah. And they would feel like they're part of the group, right? They get to make some decisions.
That's the only one I can actually think of.
Happy? Yeah, you did great. Harlow, when you started coming here, were you nervous? Did you know what to do, or did you kind of get really quiet? Quiet, yeah. Sometimes people go behind other people because you're not sure what to do, right? And that way, this one can be the leader and I can kind of just watch. What if we did this instead?
I think that would be a bit better. So the person that knows a bit more about it than you, they can help you.
Exactly. You guys are on the ball today. How do you think they feel about inviting people to this congregation?
I don't know.
Ask them. Who wants to tell us how you feel about inviting people to the congregation to come to church with you or to come to an event with you? Anybody else?
I'm happy to invite people to come to First Parish and share.
Nice. Does anybody wonder if maybe they shouldn't because it's religious and you don't want to talk about religion?
No.
Everybody feels okay on that front? Nice. Last week, Abby brought a friend. And the friend had a blast. And Abby kept saying, this is what we do every time. You can come whenever you want. That's an invitation, isn't it? She's letting them join us. Do you think you have friends that would like to come here?
Maybe.
I wonder what that would be like to ask somebody else to come hang out with us.
You would probably have to ask them a little question. Yeah. And they might have to
There might be some things we have to think about to make it work.
Because I might want to bring my best friend, and she doesn't really know where this is. And
So you might have to tell her where we are.
yeah.
Yeah, especially when we're back here. Yeah. Do you think they'd have fun?
Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. Well, we're going to talk about inviting the new upstairs. New people, new values, all sorts of new things. Are you ready to go?
Yeah.
Yeah? All right. Should we say goodbye? See you later.
I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine. I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine. I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine. Let it shine. Let it shine.
Our reading today is Community by Rebecca Ann Parker. Community is where we are called to be part of something larger than ourselves, which is wholesome or holy. Community is being present with one another in the wordless, the unspoken, the ineffable. It is where we speak and live the highest we know, living with the knowledge that it is never as deep, as wide, or as high as we wish. Community happens when there is a quality of relationship between and among human beings that beckons forth hidden possibilities. It happens wherever our wounds begin healing, wherever our lostness is found. It exists where people are invited into deeper, more constant, more reverent relationship with the world and with one another. Community is believing in life in the presence of death. It is where together we celebrate the triumphs of the human spirit, the miracles of birth and life, the wonders of devotion and sacrifice. It is where together we are witness to life-enhancing values, where we speak truth to power, where we stand for human dignity and for compassion and aspiration. Community is where we are present with, to, and for one another in our terrors and torments, our grief, misery, and pain, our joys and strengths, and in knowing that those feelings are each of ours.
She sets that up. We're going to invite you guys to sing with us on the chorus, which is very simple. It is all we need, all we need, all we need is right here. All we need, all we need, all we need is right here.
You've traveled long, we traveled far, to be right here where we are. Reach out a hand, no need to fear, 'cause all we need is right here. All we need, all we need, all we need is right here. All we need, all we need, all we need is right here. The night was dark, but the day is bright. Together we can lift our eyes to all we love and we hold dear. 'Cause all we need is right here. All we need, all we need, all we need is right here. All we need, all we need, all we need is right here. All we need, all we need, all we need is right here.
Thank you both for helping out this morning and making all this work. Emily has recently joined Emily, for those of you who might be new here, is our new music director. She came in about a year ago as an interim music director, and we've just hired her for the permanent role, and there'll be a bit of a party for her next week, because she's not here today. And so she's joined the Association of UU Music Ministries and is finding songs like the one that we all just sang. There's a whole resource library from UU composers that is creating lots of wonderful new music. So we're going to be tapping into that more regularly. Please take a moment to look around the chapel. Look at each other's faces. Notice who is here this morning. There are people here who have been attending for a long time. There are people who are relatively new. This is your spiritual community. Some of you have been involved, members and friends of this church for many years, and have seen so much that has happened and so many people who have passed through these doors. But some of you were new. There are some folks here, those who were long-timers, might not kind of really grasp this, but there are some folks here who have never seen the inside of the meeting house, which we hope to return to in the next month. That's these days. Imagine that. For some of you, that will be like a homecoming. For some of you, it will be a whole brand new experience. Human beings are communal animals. We thrive best within familial and communal systems that offer love, support, and understanding. We long for the opportunity to be known, accepted, and valued for who we are. In her article, Building a Strong Community, Elizabeth Moshander-Jones writes, "The core of our Unitarian Universalist faith is the community. Our faith community is the bedrock on which we stand to face the challenges that confront us in our rapidly changing world. It is the security of a community of love and caring with shared vision and values that gives us strength." In August of 2003, I moved from the San Francisco Bay Area, where I had been in seminary and serving at church for a couple of years. And I moved to the Cleveland, Ohio area to serve 1 year as an interim minister of religious education at the West Shore Unitarian Universalist Church, one of our larger congregations. Beginning in the post-World War II era, the western suburbs of Cleveland began growing exponentially, and West Shore was founded in the mid-1950s. Within a couple of decades, they had such a large congregation of young families that there were over 500 children in the religious education program. My predecessor had served that congregation for 27 years. First, as a director of religious education, and after finishing seminary, she was called as their minister of religious education. But the program needs were different in 2003. There were still around 100 children in the program, but that number was dropping rapidly, as it has in so many churches where families are smaller and other programs and activities take up Sunday morning time. I arrived in mid-August and decided to do a little experiment with them. I went in on a Sunday morning anonymously as a visitor. I wore a special visitor name tags. I wanted to see how welcoming they were, how friendly they might be to a stranger. No one spoke to me. I stayed for coffee hour. I smiled and said hello to a few people. Other than saying hello or nodding back, no one spoke to me. Asked who I was or how I came to be there. No one asked for my contact information either. Or I would have said, oh, the office down the hall. And that was really. So I preached for them about every 6 weeks. And in February, in a sermon on being welcoming, I told them that story of my first experience with them. I've come to know many of those people by then, and they were horrified at their own behavior. Unfortunately, my experience is not atypical in churches, UU or otherwise. We all build walls to protect ourselves, but they also keep people out, whether we realize it or not. And in some of our larger churches, it is hard for people to say, gee, have I met that person? Are they new here? People don't know what to say. I offered them a challenge that morning. I asked them to make a commitment to talk to people they don't know. They might be newcomers, they might have been there for a while. It's really not that difficult, I said, to go up to someone and say, hi, my name is Art. I don't think we've met. Or, I don't think we've had a chance to talk. I suggested they might ask a new person to join them for coffee hour. I asked them to remember who they had spoken to so they could greet them the next time they were there. By the time I got to coffee hour after the service, the place was in a complete uproar. The chair of the membership committee, unbeknownst to me, a woman, had started going up to people and saying, hi, my name is Art. I don't think we've met. It became like a game of telephone tag, with everyone going up to everyone and each other and saying, hi, my name is Art, and some version of, I don't think we've met, or I might not have had a chance to talk to you, or something. It was great, raucous fun that morning. The ice had been broken, and the culture in that congregation began to shift. So I'm not going to offer you the same challenge, because you do a great job making people feel welcome. It's one of the things visitors say most often. I am going to suggest that you pay more attention at coffee hour to people who are alone and who might be new or long-timers, for that matter, and chat with them. But more importantly, I'm going to ask each of you to think of ways that you can invite people to join you here. We may all know people who would love to find the kind of support and connection that you have found. Especially in these challenging and scary times, people need a sense of spiritual community, need a place with like-minded people who share their values and support them. You might not have seen this. There's a questionnaire in your order of service. And I think you've been given pencils when you walked in, and if you don't have something to write with, we're going to do, this is a very different thing for us. We're going to do something a lot more interactive this morning. Because I want to engage all of you in this process. After a few minutes, I'm going to give you all a couple of minutes to look at the questions and to think about answers or to write down some answers. I'm going to ask you to form some small groups and talk about them, and then we're going to take the feedback to the larger congregation. And please remember to think outside the box. When I did this kind of service in Dorchester many years ago, I was approached by a couple in the congregation who had 2 school-age daughters. They were thinking, they wondered if they might hold a cookout with other families and invite me to that cookout and tell those parents that their minister was coming to say a few words about the church. We got 2 new families from that gathering. Most of you know, I'll talk to anybody. I love sharing the good news of Unitarian Universalism, a faith tradition and a community that has saved my life over and over again. So, first, take a look at the questions. What continually draws you to attend First Parish Plymouth? Do you have friends, neighbors, co-workers that you think might also appreciate attending this church? What support and resources could we provide you in this effort? And how could First Parish Plymouth be more engaged with outreach in the community? And it's those last 2 questions that I'm going to try to solicit the most feedback from. And I know there are folks here who are visiting. There are folks here who are relatively new. But your input is also very important based on your experience coming in. And you might have some ideas for us that we have not thought of, or those of us who've been here for a while might not even think about. So take a couple of minutes and look at the questions, write some notes down, or think about what you might say. I will ring the singing bowl and invite you to cluster into some smaller groups. And we'll do that, the smaller groups for about 5 minutes, and then I even brought newsprint. I mean, newsprint in the service it's a twist for us, but I think this is such an important issue. And with our theme of invitation this month, it's really good to focus on how we invite people into this community. You're all having way too much fun. people okay with our turning the recording back on for the comments that you're going to share?
Sure.
Are folks okay with that? With your comments being posted online or? Okay? Great. So there are a couple of important questions. The last two questions are, what kind of support can we provide to help you to reach out to other people that you might know who might be interested in what the kind of spiritual community that exists here?
We didn't quite get to my one slide. It was very organic, we had a wonderful conversation, but
Okay.
the one thought I did have is like if you could quarterly or twice a year specifically have a service that was directed at welcoming new people and maybe even have it upside down, like have social hour at first to welcome people in and sort of.
Great idea. Great idea.
Yeah.
So eat dessert first, right?
Works.
Yeah.
Everybody comes.
Eat the same amount.
Okay, that's great. Abigail.
I find sometimes people will say, what is Unitarian? You know, what is you? Well, tell me about it. And I go, oh. And I'm wondering if you even did a session or had a full, you know, how do I respond to that? I feel like I should be able to. I
know you've been in you for a long time.
Well, it's all kinds of classes, and it's often a challenge. Well, so you guys don't believe in anything, you know?
Yeah.
So it would be
Okay.
really helpful to have some good answers and some talking.
Your elevator speech.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yes.
And we could also, I mean, we do have kind of a welcome brochure that that I revised in the spring, but we might put together another simple brochure to help with that.
Or the other thing that we used to have, which when we were over the building, was, you know, the magazine rack with all the brochures.
That's still in the, is it over here? Okay. But we
Is
don't.
it back here? One of those, I think, answers Abigail's questions. There's one that does a great job of almost being the elevator speech. Why am I a Unitarian?
So Abigail, just carry some brochures.
Thank you all.
Amy.
And I don't know if you've done this in the past, but have official open houses advertised in the community, especially ones we're back in that building that we have not set foot. And maybe that's the day we start with the cake.
Start with the cake, the dessert first.
That's a great idea.
Yeah.
That's actually a good title, dessert first.
Good title for the service.
Amy.
A lot of people that I'm friends
Amy and
with,
Amy.
yeah, a lot of people that I'm friends with, we're beyond trying to get our kids into a religion. And the religion part is something a lot of people have actively left because of whatever religion they were raised in.
Right.
One of the things that I think I've found that brings people to this building are the events, and mostly the social action events and the Friday night fellowships.
Yes.
I think social action has been huge in getting other people to want to, people that want to do something, walk in the door to like figure out what we're about. So thank you, social action.
Well then Rick and Amy will really like my response to number 4 because it's dessert first. It's visibly support key issues in Plymouth, like Holtec, Save the Bay, sand mining, and affordable housing. So I know that some of us in the community stand out at 5:30, or we go to the select board meetings or whatever, but I think as a community, however we stand on those issues is important to keeping Plymouth.
And getting that out somehow.
And just to add to that, as a new member, I came looking for fellowship. I stayed because of the common cause. I really found that in social action, and I'm a political person, and I found some, so.
Yeah. Rachel, you're half a hand.
Where we are, and where a lot of people I know, it's kids and small kids, and it's hard to invite families with small kids if I know there's only one person in the nursery. Because I felt like I have a friend who's looking, she's asked me about it, but she's got 4 kids, so coming in. So having more, and having childcare for more of the adult offerings, because it's just hard. It's hard to get out on a Friday, or whatever it is, to get to whatever thing without having childcare available. That's a great idea.
Yeah.
I'm going to chime in with that comment. Myself, I'm one of the few lifelong Unitarians, and neither of my parents had a Unitarian background. And a very lovely neighbor where I grew up offered to take us to Sunday school, my brothers and I, and that's how we got connected. So that reaching out, I think.
Yeah. So,
A lot of folks come maybe once, twice, and then we don't see them again. And people come for connection, and they want to feel like there's somebody here who they can connect with. One of the things that was important to me is when I first came, Jan had pictures of people who had joined and little write-ups on them, and they were posted down in the, I want to say basement, in where I am, in the other building. And, because I didn't talk to anybody the first time, but I looked at that array of pictures and the little write-ups of people, and I concluded, oh, there are people here who I can connect with. And I have some idea who these people are. I know the Church of Westport has an actual, almost a yearbook with pictures and little write-ups on all their members. And they do that about every 3 or 4 years. I'm aware of here, with a lot of the new folks, I have no idea who you are. I'm sorry. I want to.
So, it's a good suggestion. We've talked about it. We did it a little bit a year or 2 ago. There were a few we did. We are, and I think it's important to have those write-ups for long-term members too.
Yes.
So that newer people can see that and say, oh, I met that person, and this is a little bit more about who they are. We are looking for people who might have time to do a quick kind of interview and write-up of new and existing members. Membership committee is going to come up with some simple questions to spark those conversations, but it would be a really nice thing to start building that again, because we've been talking about that at the membership committee meeting. Marcus.
And also a little blurb breakdown about the new principles and how those are, and how that fits into what we're doing currently.
Yes, I'm doing a service on those on the first Sunday in October.
Okay, cool.
Coming up in a couple of weeks. The new, yeah.
I want to touch on what Doug said.
about community, social action was going to be at, recycling?
Oh, yesterday?
Yesterday. And you'll see actually at coffee hour, there's a table of all the things we were going to have there. And we welcome you to look in if you want to purchase anything. But that is one way that we think we can get out in the community is to be at events like that with information.
The sustainability
With the sustainability fair, you were rained out.
You were there Friday.
Exactly. Martin Luther King weekend. And also other, not just social action, but there could be other groups that might get involved. But it's a great thought. I think that's one way to get involved.
And the Plymouth No Place for Hate Committee is planning some extensive programming for Martin Luther King weekend that we'll be able to participate with and be engaged with. Yep. Yep. Who? Yeah. Oh, Josh.
This is, I don't have like a fully formed idea, but the using the return to the other building as an occasion for community outreach, because I think that building is kind of bigger than us. It is a community asset, right? I mean, it's a historic building in the community, and so whether it's people who come for tours, learn about the activities of the church, or having a big picnic for everybody, or doing something with the Mayflower Society or whatever, but just to make the congregation more visible.
It also has a larger visible footprint than this place does.
Oh, yeah.
Because you can say, oh, I'm going to the big stone place on the hill.
Yeah.
Follow me.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, as soon as we know that, I planned a service for last week, actually, that was going to be the return. And we were going to show a little film, and have a very interactive homecoming kind of service. So that's been postponed. It's kind of still in the file, waiting for the Sunday that we're going to be here. Yes, thank you.
I don't have a fully formed idea, but so for me, it's hard for me to just walk into coffee hour with a bunch of people I don't know as a new member. So if there was an option for a new member, if they wanted to kind of pair up with someone who's been there for a while, there's a buddy system, and they could kind of introduce them to everybody, and they could exchange numbers.
For coffee hour and also for some of the other activities that are happening. If you want to go, the postcard writing thing that the social action team does on Friday night, or Friday night fellowships, when those start again shortly. I think they're starting.
Maybe next week?
They're starting next week with the film that's being shown in Kingston,
right.
and then I think Kim has planned some stuff for October. Elizabeth.
I don't know if this already exists, but what about the idea of sort of joining with other organizations like No Place for Hate and Sustainability Plymouth, there's Sustainability Red Brook in our neighborhood, and having some sort of a get-together where we and other organizations who we know share our values just get together and have something social, or so that we just are increasing our volume of people who share our values.
Because you never know how many people share your values that you've never talked to, and you won't see them because of different restrictions. Like you might see someone at the grocery store, but then, you might not have a chance to talk to them on the way by. But if they come to a place where, like Elizabeth was saying, a communal organizational thing, they might actually do something. They might actually take the time to take a look.
One more here, and then we need to, it's almost 11, and we want to finish up the service and try to be a little timely about that.
At the General Assembly, all the congregations, there's a march, when they march in, they all have their own banners. And frequently, if they have shirts that they identify with their congregation, they'll be wearing those shirts. When we do a lot of social action stuff, we had shirts made. I don't know how to order them now, but I know that they exist. We've never had a banner, to my knowledge.
We do.
We do have a banner, perhaps.
We do have, thanks to, was it Doug?
Glenn?
That printed up the Glenn. We have, I believe, 10 blue vests that say First Parish Plymouth, UU.
We wore it during trash cleanup.
Right.
Be the good t-shirt.
Yep, Kim had those.
Can I just piggyback on that for one?
Yeah.
I showed up at one protest with the old mustard yellow shirts,
Oh, the standing by the sign.
and a Methodist minister came up to me and said, I know when I see those shirts, I'm in the right place.
Yes. Those shirts have been around for 10 years, 10, 12 years, Standing on the Side of Love. Bright yellow shirts. That was a campaign by our national organization, and many people in many of our congregations actually bought them. And so I have one around too. So it'd be interesting to see what the National UU group is promoting these days for that. Okay, thank you all very much. We can continue some more of this. This conversation, or a bit of this conversation will probably continue on 2 weeks from yesterday at our leadership retreat. There will be more conversation on outreach, how to make that happen, how to put together an outreach team to work with social media, to get stuff in, the calendar and the independent, stuff like that. Thank you all very, very much for this, for your input in what needs to happen. And we're going to do welcome number 407, welcome table. We're going to sit at the welcome table.
Are you collecting these sheets? Or just...
I will. You can come up and put them on the table, or I'll collect them when you leave, before you leave. Some of it might be for you if you have like named people that you might want to talk to. In that second question. And again, this is all based on that first question is what you have found here that is meaningful for you. And we know there are other people out there that would find this place meaningful. So please rise, or they're going to, I think that particular recording is going to tell us the story.
I'd like you to rise and body your spirit for our closing hymn number 407. I love it.
And this is going to have a good meaning. We sit at the welcome table. We're going to sit at the welcome table. Stays hallelujah. We're going to sit at the welcome table. We're going to sit at the welcome table one of these days. this morning are offering the transfer for benediction. You're right. I've been reworking the elements of the order of service over the last several months to try and make it work better for us. Okay. Your connection here, what you give to this congregation is part of what brings people in and holds people here. Your thoughts, your time, your talent, and your treasure. And we now have a moment where we ask you to give your financial resources for the ministry and growth of this congregation. Our offering will now be received. And we don't have any music played.
We miss Emily.
That is my testament to the importance of Emily.
I can tell, this is the back row in English class.
Please rise. All that dwell below the skies, let songs of hope and faith arise. Let peace goodwill on earth be sung through every and by every tongue. Please be seated. And once again, part of your connection here is the things that you share with each other. If you have milestones, candles of joys or sorrow that you'd like to share with us this morning, please come up. And I'll light the candle for you and you can share. The first candle, the candle we used to light for chalice, I put in the as a kind of a first candle where we honor this morning a lot of ongoing violence and pray for that to stop, especially gun violence in schools and other organizations. That continues to be a huge threat. And this morning I'm going to add to that for the it looks like there is a huge new conflict, war between Israel and Lebanon now, because that just escalated exponentially this week. And we pray for peace. We pray for a resolution of conflict between folks who have been at war for 4,000 years. Spirit of all that is holy, that gives life to us and builds the connections that we have with each other, the other people in our lives, the people in this church community. We pray for the grace, the enlightenment, the courage to continue to stand by our beliefs and values in these difficult times. To look for the support that we need, both here and elsewhere, in order to do that. And to find ways to celebrate the connections that we do have, the victories, both large and small, that touch our lives and those of our families. And to go on into the future. Let's pause for a moment of personal reflection. I'll ring the bell, we'll sing a Spirit of Life. And just Spirit of life, 123. Unto me, sing in my heart all the stirrings of compassion, blow in the wind, rise in the sea. Move in the hand, giving life the shape of justice. Roots hold me close, wings set me free. Spirit of life, come to me, come to me. Our benediction is from the words of the poet Marge Piercy. It starts when you care to act. It starts when you do it again after they said no. It starts when you say we and know who you mean. And each day you mean one more. You don't have a postlude? Are there any quick announcements before we go off? Julia?